Welcome to Masterpiece Tarot. Here you'll find timeless messages to guide your soul's awakening. If you're here, trust you are meant to be. You can show your support for my channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. These greatly help me and support my mission of creating more peace on earth. Okay, collective. I have pulled a reading and I thought my camera was on and it wasn't. And so I am going to re-record this. I don't want to lose this channeling because it's a really good one for the masculine collective. So I'm just going to try to go through it the best I can. Okay, it's a really cool reading, and I really hope that doesn't happen again. So the first card out here was the Emperor in reverse. Okay, the Emperor in reverse is somebody who is having a hard time taking action. They can also be somewhat reactive. Okay, and I'm just going to go through these first and then we'll clarify them. The crossing energy is this Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is somebody who has been cultivating, in this case, a small plant. Okay, they're nurturing it, they're growing it, and you can see he's kind of proud of it, okay, because it's grown. It's grown roots. It's got some nice leaves on it. It's still pretty small though, right? So this is the energy that's crossing the Emperor at this time. In the conscious space, we have the World card. Alrighty. Now the World is about completions. It's about closing out cycles. It's about achievement, success, being recognized for something, and yeah. And then after that, you're entering into a new cycle, right? And that's that. And then we have here in the unconscious space, death and rebirth. So kind of a similar idea with death and rebirth to the wheel, and yet different. So, death and rebirth is about an ending and something new being born. The ending can be like the loss of a person. It could be the loss of a job. It could be, maybe there was a business plan that you were working on, and then when you tested it in the market, you realized that it's not going to work. Okay, it's not sellable or something, and so you've got to come up with a new one. So it's a different kind of an ending. With the World, it's more about closing a cycle and leveling up. And so I see this as almost like the spiral staircase. As you elevate, you go higher and higher. Definitely both endings and beginnings, though. But we're conscious of the level up. We're not conscious of needing to surrender something. And then in the recent past, we have an Ace of Pentacles. There was a gift in the material. Yeah. Could have been a prosperous new start. That's a seed. There was a seed that was planted. Our Emperor might have planted a seed. In the future, we have the Four of Wands. Four of Wands is typically a card about, a stable foundation, and there is an underlying awareness of the fact that you're building for the future. But in the reverse, it means enjoying the moment. You're not thinking about the future. You're just living in the moment, having a good time, celebrating. Okay. And then here we have our outcome cards. So the way that our Emperor is thinking about themselves right now, Eight of Wands in the reverse. Eight of Wands in the reverse, again, it's about being in the moment. Okay. It's about being patient. When it's this way, it's fast moving action forward. When it's in the reverse, it's about being patient. Okay. In the environment, there's an energy of the Hanged Man. So when it's upright, it's about seeing things from a new perspective, gaining enlightenment, and it's also about patience. But when it's in the reverse, there's a sense that in the environment, there's a judgment, okay? It can be like being perceived. Whatever's happening here with the slowing down and living in the moment can be perceived as inertia, okay? Or there could be a sense that people are feeling impatient in the environment. A hope and a fear. We've got the Three of Cups. This is about a celebration. This is about three individuals joining together, arm in arm, looking out in the same direction. They're looking out at the stars in this case, and the color of the card is purple, which I love, because this is about, that purple is about a high vibrational frequency. So I think there's a real hope, okay, that as we move along here, that our Emperor hopes to reach a higher vibrational frequency, and be able to be in this feeling of celebrating with loved ones, with like-minded people, yeah, with people who share interests and values and all this. The Three of Swords here is our first outcome card. The Three of Swords in the reverse is about recovery. It's about letting go of pain. Okay. And our final card in the reading is the Magician. And this card is all about creation. Okay, so what we're seeing here as we look at these cards all together, you know, the Magician's able to manifest easily using the four elements, okay, and his intention. Okay, this is a creative energy. So let's just look again. We've got an Emperor in the reverse, and he's feeling blocked, I think, because, you know, there's a sense that he wants to grow something, and perhaps it's growing slowly with all these cards that have come out with living in the moment, being patient. Other people are impatient, right? So that's what I think may be happening there. I think we've already talked about these. In the conscious space, the masculine's well aware, okay, that they're leveling up. This Emperor, or whoever this masculine is who's in this Emperor of reverse, okay, maybe he's got a creative block or something, right? Things aren't growing as fast as he'd like. But he also knows he is moving forward, okay? He has completed something. I think this card is significant in this reading. This is death and rebirth in the unconscious space. Masculine is having a hard time with death and rebirth. And what I think this refers to, death and rebirth, you know, when something ends, we have to surrender it. We have to release it, right? Death is about letting go. And we have to let go. In fact, if somebody actually dies, this is not an option, okay? But in the same way, we need to choose to let things go at times. And anyway, like in Eastern philosophy, for example, death, you guys, there's a landscaper outside, it's so loud. Anyway, this whole, you know, one of the things that causes humans great suffering is attachment, right? And so there's a sense that what the masculine is struggling with at this time may be attachments. Okay, he may be attached to things, but not understanding or seeing or recognizing this. Like on the one hand, he's leveling up, closing a cycle and moving up, but there's almost a sense that he wants to take it all with him, take everything with him, okay? Because he's not understanding this part of it, this surrendering, this detachment piece. The Ace of Pentacles, we talked about that. We talked about the Four of Wands. I think we've talked about these. So let's go ahead now and look at all the different clarifiers here. I don't think the blower could be much louder. So here we have our Emperor in reverse. I'm going to hit noise cancellation. Hang on, guys. I just remembered I could do that. Okay. I don't know. We'll see if it's better. So this is our Emperor in the reverse. And clearly he is anxious. He's not feeling good. He's reactive. Okay. He's feeling blocked. He can't see things clearly. Right? And yet we have a Two of Cups. And so it's almost like this is how the masculine is feeling, but this is the behavior that could actually change this dynamic within himself. Okay, so here we see two people exchanging cups of love, but love can come in many forms. It can be self-love, it can also come from the divine, but there's something healing about exchanging love, whether you're exchanging with the divine, you're giving and receiving. Okay, you can give love through acts of service. You can receive love by meditating, praying, okay, all these things. You can also do it through another person. But I do think that this is a reading, as I'm looking at these cards, that this is really about a masculine on a solo journey here. I do. Okay, so the masculine here is in the reverse. He's having a hard time taking action. He's also feeling emotionally reactive, more so than he normally would. Okay, and when we act in those ways, you know, that is something that needs to be addressed. Okay, it's something that needs transforming, because yeah, if we want to get ourselves upright and be good leaders, we've got to get a grip on all that. All right, Seven of Pentacles is clarified by, guess what? The Seven of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Fool. And so I think with the Seven of Pentacles repeating itself and then moving on to the Eight, it's as if this is a very slow growing shrub or manifestation. It is slow going, and that could be frustrating to the masculine. It could be anxiety inducing. He could really want to start something in love, but it's all just, he's feeling really stuck. Okay, he wants to take this new leap somehow into something new. Okay, he wants to level up, right? He wants this new beginning. He wants all of these possibilities, and in fact, he knows that they exist, right? Because when we are in Fool energy, you know, everything in the universe is available to us. There's a real sense of freedom and liberation that comes when you have the ability to take a leap of faith into something completely new and unknown. However, what we're seeing is that this masculine feels very, I think, tied down in a way to whatever it is that he's trying to build here. And it is manual labor, right? That slow going, toilsome toil, right? And then in the unconscious space here, we have the death and rebirth, clarified by the moon, the Four of Wands, and the Ace of Cups. So what I'm seeing is the masculine, I think here, with the moon card, there's a sense that his own shadow is hidden from him, okay? And the shadow relates to, perhaps, an inability to release. And, when we can't dredge up our shadow, if we cannot access what is hidden within us, it's really hard to do that inner work, to do the work that would enable us to transform our shadow. But the masculine, because it's here in the unconscious position, he's not even really realizing it, right? Now, it could also be that, you know, something that has been built in the past is needing to be released, okay? So that something new, maybe a new and better situation, can, be born. That might be also something that he's not seeing. And finally, with the Ace of Cups, this is a cup of love, comes from the divine. We see this hand here reached out, it's open, and is receiving this cup. But there's a sense here that this masculine, for whatever reason, with this feeling of not being able to take action, not being able to act, might be having a hard time putting his hand out and receiving this cup of love, whether it's from another person, whether it's from the divine, or whether it's just loving himself. Okay, there might be other attachments that need to be released that are shadowy. When we're not accepting a cup of love, what does it look like? Well, it could look like we're actually doing things to block it actively. There may be things that need to be released, right? Like habits, mindsets, people, places, things, jobs, okay? Because when we hold on so tight, we're resisting. We are resisting the universe. And, fear of letting go, the inability to detach or attachments stem from a place of fear. And when we manifest from a place of fear, we are, checking the camera, we are, more likely to manifest things that are in that similar frequency, right? So you might have dreams and you might want to manifest these dreams, but if you don't have a healthy detachment, or if you're clinging too strongly to maybe what it's going to look like in the future, that attachment can actually hinder the manifestation of that dream or the realization of that dream, right? If you are, manifesting from a place of fear, then you might get into a relationship with somebody who is clingy, right? If you're manifesting from a place of fear, with regard to maybe a new work situation, you might become so attached that you fail to recognize opportunities to grow or to try new things or take risks because you're just afraid of the new. And so you sort of forego your own potential in a way when you aren't able to dredge up those shadows and look at them, integrate them, and release. Because with death and rebirth, we have to let go of certain things, because when we go into new cycles, not everything can come with us, right? We can't bring everything with us into every cycle. It's too heavy. And then in the future, there's a sense of living in the moment, taking it day by day. And some of this might look like, enjoying your sexuality, your physical, being in your body, and just having fun, feeling good. A Nine of Cups, yeah, feeling good being single. You don't have an attachment to another person. You can be a little selfish when you're in this energy. You can live in the moment, right? And you can take the time you need to recover, heal, find peace within, right? Living in the moment is a very liberating way to go sometimes. But like what I will say about it, though, is that just like everything in life, we do need balance, okay? There's a time and a place for everything. And here we have it again, this sense of kind of being patient. This is like judgment here is like a card of divine timing. We don't decide when the angel sounds the trumpet. We're there to receive the message or the guidance or the judgment or the awakening. We're there to receive it, but we must be patient and wait for that divine call. This to me speaks of slowing down and smelling the roses, so to speak, to use a cliche. But yeah, like if you're celebrating with friends, enjoy it. Soak it in. Don't be in a hurry. You know, use that time to fill up your cup and really nourish yourself and rejuvenate yourself and, you know, have a good time with it. You know what I mean? This is an act of self-love. It's a way you can nurture yourself. And I think that's how this is a card of how masculine is seeing themselves at this time. They're slowing down. They're conscious that they're doing it. And they understand that it is an act of self-love. Hangman in reverse, we talked about it. This is in the environment, there's a sense that of inertia, maybe a sense that this masculine is going too slow. There's a sense of impatience here. Why can't we get moving already? But why? And these are the cards that I pulled. We've got a Seven of Swords, a Queen of Swords, and a Queen of Pentacles. And what I'm getting here, there's a deception in the environment. There's an element. Gotta pause. Be right back. Confirmation, people. Okay. All right. There's an element of deception in the environment. They want things to hurry up. Why? I don't know, but for their own agenda. There's something they're trying to get. This is sneaking. This can be lying, cheating. They have a strategy. They want them to hurry it up. Okay. And this could involve a Queen of Swords and or a Queen of Pentacles. Okay. Air sign feminine, earth sign feminine. Maybe they're in cahoots. They're looking at each other. Okay, so swords are Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and pentacles, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Hangman is Pisces. Could be a Pisces here. The Three of Cups. Hopes and fears. I love this little part of the reading right here. Three of Cups. This is such a cool thing. So check this out, you guys. These are the cards that came out. The Hierophant, the Chariot, and the Hermit. There is a sense here that the hope of the person we're reading for, this masculine energy. Okay, we see that the masculine here, I think he's the Hermit. Whatever he's going through right now, okay, he's doing some self-work on himself, okay, because we see he starts out as an Emperor in the reverse, and he ends here as the Magician. He goes from being stuck, being not taking action, being reactive, you know, being out of balance and a little bit chaotic in a way, to being very focused and creative as the Magician. And so the masculine here is the Hermit. Okay, he's looking within. And as he looks within, okay, I think he's seeing a Hierophant and a Chariot. And the Hierophant, because these are two masculine energies. And look, their heads are all at about the same height. Like, it's almost like he's seeing aspects of himself. So just to say, the Hierophant, remember, he is about this energy is about traditions, the rules of society. Um, it can be about rituals, can be about like higher learning, can also be about mentorship, um, teaching, providing guidance to individuals in the community with regard to, yeah, traditional cultural practices. Um, and the chariot is somebody who's preparing for battle. And so what I'm seeing with our masculine is that he's looking into himself, and it's almost like he's seeing future projections of himself, um, or energies that he could embody. Because with the chariot, there's a sense of momentum and movement and preparation, which is very different than what our emperor in the reverse is currently experiencing, right? It's like he's having an epiphany, like, actually, I can move toward being this hierophant. I can move towards sort of mastery. I don't have to stay stuck. I can take steps. It's okay to take steps slowly, um, but yeah, I do. I see that there's momentum here. And then what I find so fascinating is when we hold this card up next to it, the Three of Cups, we have three feminines on this card. And look, they're locked arm in arm. And what that suggests to me is that as this masculine, Emperor in reverse, looks within, he sees that certain aspects of himself maybe need more love. Maybe he recognizes that he has the potential to be a fantastic leader, a powerful leader, somebody very wise, knowledgeable, somebody who's a good mentor, teacher, guide. Okay. And he sees himself as somebody who's ready. He's prepared. Look at how um, dignified this man looks. I mean, he's really ready. You know, he's got everything adjusted just right. He's very balanced. Okay. We have the shadow and the light in perfect balance. We have these buildings represent the unconscious and the conscious mind. So he's, you know, very balanced, right? And when you look at these cards side by side, it's almost like they're a mirror image. You know, these three energies have their arms interlocked, which would suggest that as this masculine continues on this journey, that these aspects of himself, this person who can go into solitude, this person who is prepared and ready for a battle, or whatever it is, whether it's a physical battle, a figurative battle, these aspects of himself, as well as this learned, wise counselor, these aspects of himself are well integrated and serving his highest good. That's the hope here. I love these cards together. I just have to say it. All right. And then Three of Swords. Remember, this is about recovery. This is about releasing pain. Interestingly, we have these cards. We have the Three of Swords in the upright. We have a Four of Cups. And we have a Knight of Pentacles. I think they came out like this. So I think what I'm getting here is that initially this masculine resisted looking at this pain. You know, it could be, there's lots of different ways we can avoid our pain, or, yeah, our heartbreak. You know, we can turn to substances, we can distract ourselves with work, we can jump right into another relationship. There's all kinds of different ways to distract yourself from pain or from uncomfortable feelings. Sometimes we stab our own self in the heart. But what I'm seeing, though, because this is the past, because we read left to right. So past and future. Okay, so the heart here is flipped. This is our main card right here. This is our main one. So where this masculine before didn't want to look at the heartache, he's now willing to take some action in the world to address it and move himself into a place of recovery here. Actions could be like meditating or taking a bath or talking to a counselor or doing some journaling, something in the material that moves him away. But with this card, it really shows that there is a need to be willing to accept that cup of love. And here, with our Magician card, that's what we got. So here we see this Emperor in the reverse has made it. You know, I think this card here was like the pre-Magician. You know, this masculine was successful in taking a small action to improve his situation, to dive into the shadow here, look at a pain, look at something that maybe triggers him, right, in this reactive energy. This was like the pre-Magician, and then now we have the Magician here. And it goes from the 9 to the 10, and in between the 9 and the 10, there's justice. And so, you know, this masculine, this Emperor in reverse could be somebody who's at a 9 in terms of maybe having what he wants, getting what he deserves, receiving some form of justice, whether that be in the courts or the divine justice. I do think there is something about the courts because I'm seeing it here in the environmental energy. There's this sneaky energy here with this community that's saying, speed up, hurry it up, what's with the inertia, why are you taking so long? There's something with it, I'm not sure. But then here we have a wounded warrior, but he is at a 9. He's near completion. He's almost there. And then we see the 10 of Pentacles, and he gets there. There is a completion. There is justice. He is sitting in this energy. He's able to manifest, okay, what it is that he would like to see, would like to experience, and what is for his greatest good. There is a sense he is connected to the divine with that little infinity symbol. Yeah, so I really do see a masculine who goes through quite the transformation. There was an analogy that I used the first time I went through the reading, and it has to do with alchemy. And you know, there's a sense, I'm trying to remember where it came up in the reading. Oh, you guys, darn it, I forgot to read these cards back here. Sheesh. I do want to include this, okay? So this was in the past. This is in the past. We drew the Ace of Pentacles, a 2 of Pentacles, a 4 of Pentacles, and a King of Wands. And this is where the alchemy comes in. Funny that I missed it. I guess we're going to highlight it here. When you add up these pentacles, you get 7. Okay, so we have 7 pentacles here. And right next to it, we have 7 of Pentacles and 7 of Pentacles. So, you know, we've got 777. That's one thing. But we also have like this sense of, I don't want to say stagnation, but it's like Groundhog's Day. Like something really does feel like it keeps repeating the same cycle over and over again. And what we have here in the King of Wands, now this is somebody he brings the fire, right? This is all about fire, and he's a master of it. And it's like, this is about alchemy in a way. You know, he's looking at this and saying, you know, the emperor, this is the Emperor's Pentacle, remember? And it's grown from the 1 to the 2 to the 4. And it's almost like this King of Wands energy is looking at it and going, well, come on already. Let's let's do this. Let's build. This is slow. But the analogy, I'm trying to remember exactly where it came in, but it's basically about this alchemical process that we go through as we look at the shadow, okay, and we start doing our work, and we're looking at the shadow, identifying the things that need to be worked on, and we're doing it over and over again so that it solidifies and it creates that shift within us, and it shifts our DNA, right? It's like you can't expect to put a pot of water on a stove, turn the stove on, and for it to boil all of a sudden. It takes time. And so all of these cards about living in the moment, taking it one day at a time, being patient, okay? We see in here in the environment, there's impatience, right? And it's very much because, and with this here, the 777, growing a crop takes time, right? There's a sense that this is a really important part of this reading, okay? Like, healing doesn't happen quickly, especially when it involves this energy down here. Hidden, okay, the shadow is not being seen or addressed even. There are things that need to be released. Recognizing that your attachments are rooted in fear, and that those fears are shadows, represent aspects of the shadow. Okay, it is a slow process. And so masculine, if you're listening to this, be kind to yourself, love yourself. We see that coming out a bunch. Love yourself. Did I forget to read this one too? I'm like all over the place. Yeah, we did. Okay, now in the conscious space, sorry this is all over the place, you guys, but in the conscious space, we're clarified by the Ten of Wands and the Sun and all these choices. And what I'm seeing here is this is a completed cycle. We're going to lay down these wands, and it's going to feel really good. There's a sense of optimism, renewal, happiness, illumination even. And with the closing of the cycle comes the beginning of a new cycle. And with the sun here next to it, it's like the sun is illuminating this dilemma that we see in the Seven of Cups, because the dilemma is that we don't know what's in all of those cups, right? So, you know, if the Emperor were to, or if we were to impulsively choose one of these cups, we don't know what's in it. And so, you know, the energy of this reading is to slow down, be patient. And I think that's really a big takeaway here. And that is, when you're choosing what you're going to work on in the shadow, right? What it is that you want to, what direction you want to go in, you know, when you take that leap of faith, it's important to be discerning when you're choosing a cup. But there is a lot of possibility here, you know, because not all of those cups are filled up with good things. And if you, yeah, if you select one, you might want to consider, like, check it out first. Take it home for a couple days and be prepared. Save your receipt. Take it back if it's not right, you know. So, all right, and then let's see. I did grab, these cards came out. We had the Emperor, the Devil, and the Lovers. I'm serious. These cards really came out this way, you guys. So the Emperor in the upright really confirms that our Emperor has made good progress. They've uprighted themselves by the end of this reading. Then we have the Devil. It's like, why did the Devil have to come out? And then we have the Lovers. But as I look at this, I'm reminded, you know, this Lovers, there's two here. And this could be like the shadow and the light aspect of self. This could be a lover partner, okay? This could represent flying, okay? Being very elevated and high vibrational. But what I'm reminded of is that, you know, new levels, new devils, basically. You can't get away from dark energy. But what we can do is realize that, you know, there's a need in life to always be doing our work. You know, just because you complete a cycle and now you're the emperor upright, it doesn't mean stop doing your work. You're perfect the way you are. You've made it. You know, fuck it all. No, you can't do that. Like, you get to this level because you've worked hard and you understand the value of working hard for that level. Okay? If you don't understand it, you're going to fall right back into this. You're going to manifest something funky out of here. Okay? Something funky. You're going to jump into something. Okay? And it's going to turn into another shadow that you have to integrate. So there's all kinds of things that can go sideways. But realizing that this is always going to be there, this devil's always going to be there. And, you know, just because we say devil, it just means negative energy. It means, you know, energy that has the potential to be a little destructive or harmful, is basically what it means. Yeah. And so that's really, to me, it's really beautiful. This emperor has learned the importance of doing his shadow work, addressing things as they come up in the moment, being patient, working through it, and really moving into this place of divine connection within, okay, divine integration within, and then also that sets up the stage for this right here, this Ten of Pentacles and Justice with the Magician. And then the last cards I drew were these three. Pride, I love myself and I see myself in everyone. Gratitude, I am thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. And empathy, I am open to seeing both sides of a situation. Okay, sorry that got a little disorganized over there, but I'm really glad that you could be here. I hope you got something from it, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, Collective.